my name's Aaliyah. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about my summer TBR, but I'm calling it my delusional summer TBR, and that's because it is currently May, and I've actually only read one book this year, and it was for one of my classes. So far this year, starting off in January, you go back to school for the spring semester, I've just been really busy. I was taking 18 credits, I was working a job, and I took on a e-board position in a club. So when I did have any free time, I would mostly just be on my phone, sleeping, or watching Netflix with my boyfriend. Yeah, I've basically done no reading. So the amount of books that I have pulled out for me to hopefully read this summer is quite ambitious, but there's only a few that I really, really want to finish this summer because they kind of have a time, they kind of have a deadline, but we'll get into that. But yeah, so this is pretty ambitious. As long as I get through my first three, I'll be pretty happy. But the rest I would love to read as much as I can this summer. So the first book on my TBR, I actually don't have a physical copy. I have it checked out as an ebook, and I've been reading it on my little, it's a tablet. It's not a Kindle meant for reading, but it's the same Amazon brand, and it was a tablet that my parents got me when I was a little kid. So I basically use it as a Kindle now. So I don't have a physical copy, but it's Panic by Lauren Oliver. And I've actually been reading this book since January. That's when I started it, and I'm about 80% done with it now, which is why it's the first one on my list, because I just want to finish it, because I've been reading it for almost 6 months now. But so far it's interesting. I started reading it because I watched the TV show adaptation on Amazon Prime, and I really loved the show. So I think that's kind of tainting my view of the book because I watched it first, but it is pretty fun to point out all of the differences between the show and the book. And there are some things that I really do think the book handled better, but I think I'm going to make a full review video about the book. So if you want more of my thoughts on that, that should be coming hopefully in June. If it takes me longer than I'm anticipating to finish the book, it'll be done in July. So the second book, or really book series on my list, is Heartstopper. And I actually have, these are all mixed up. Some of them are upside down. I actually have read all of these. I have the first 5 volumes, but I really want to reread them because if you are a Heartstopper fan, I'm sure you already know, but the 6th and final volume is set to release, I believe, July 7th, and I haven't been keeping up with the webtoon. So the last thing that I did read was volume 5. So what I want to do is reread these to prepare for the release of the 6th volume. I'll probably pre-order it so that I can read it basically as soon as it comes out, because if you're a Heartstopper fan, I'm sure you also know that the Heartstopper Forever movie, which is the finale for the TV show, is coming out on July 17th. So I want to make sure I get through all of these, read the 6th volume when it comes out, and then also rewatch the show as well. I've watched seasons 1 and 2, and I actually never watched season 3. There's not really any particular reason for that besides I went to school, got busy. It came out, I think, in October of whatever year it came out, and I was at school, so I just didn't have time, and I just never got around to watching it. So I think once I reread these, I will get to watching season 3. I'm thinking about maybe breaking it down through the books, breaking the books down into the seasons. So reading all the way through the books as far as season 1 goes, and then rewatching season 1, and then reading what season 2 covers, and then watching season 2, and then reading what season 3 covers, so on. But I'm not sure if I'll actually do that, because I'm also watching a couple other things. I'm watching Teen Wolf right now. You, Me, and Tuscany. I saw it in theaters, and I really enjoyed it, but it just came out on streaming today as I'm recording this, actually. So I know I want to rewatch that. So I don't know how I will format it exactly, how I'm going to read and rewatch the show, but that's just an idea that I had. So then the next book on my TBR is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. And I've had this book, I pre-ordered it. So I've had it for a while. I actually did start reading it. I tried to read it twice already, actually. And I didn't stop reading it because it was bad. And I also didn't even stop reading it because I was busy. Because when I waited until the summer after I got the book to start reading it. Because like I said, school, I was super busy. But that summer, this was last summer, I just was not super happy, with my life in general. I didn't feel like I was where I wanted to be in life. So I didn't think that reading a sad book on top of that was a good idea, but I did try to read it twice, and the bookmark where I left off is on page 53 in chapter 4. So I got through 3 chapters, and then I was actually, this is depressing, so I just stopped reading it. But I really do want to get through it this summer because the movie adaptation comes out in November. And I was not on time at all for The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like, I didn't read it until like maybe a couple years after the book came out, and then I didn't watch the movie until it came onto streaming. Like, I didn't have the chance to see it in theaters. So with this one, I really want to finish it before the movie comes out and go see the movie in theaters. I've literally had the movie on my calendar for like over a year at this point. So those are the first like 3 things that I really, really want to finish this summer. And honestly, if I get through those, like with Panic, Sunrise on the Reaping, and then all 5 Heartstopper books, and then also plus the 6th one, that's 8 books that I'd be finishing over the summer, which honestly is pretty good considering this year I haven't read anything except for like one of my textbooks. So just with those alone, that would put me at 9 books for the year, which isn't quite my goal. I set my goal for 10 books, but that's already more than I read last year, so I'd be perfectly fine with that. But the rest of these books, like obviously I want to read them because they're on my TBR, but these don't have as much of like a set deadline, so they don't really have a particular order that I want to get through them in. But the first one I'll pull out of my box is Loveless by Alice Oseman. And I bought this book literally during like, it was probably 2020 actually, because that's when I like found Heartstopper and all of Alice Oseman's books. And so far I've read every single one of them besides Loveless. Like, I read Solitaire, Radio Silence, I Was Born for This. I read both the novellas, Nick and Charlie and This Winter, and I just haven't gotten around to this one. So pretty high on my list because I've just been putting it off for like 5 years at this point. So the next one on my list is another one I've been putting off for quite a long time, which is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stefan. I'm not even going to try to say that last name because I'm going to mess it up. But yeah, I remember being in like maybe 7th grade when I saw the movie. It has Logan Lerman in it, and he played Percy Jackson in the movie adaptations, which I'm not going to get into my opinion on the movies. That could be a whole nother video for a whole nother day. But I remember seeing him in it and being like, I want to watch that movie. But then I found out that there's a book, and I was like, well, I'm not going to watch the movie until I read the book. And that was 7th grade, and I just finished my 2nd year of college. So it took me a while to get around to it, but hopefully I can get this one read this summer as well. So I checked these out from my school library, Heated Rivalry and The Long Game, and these are really, really popular right now. I'm sure if you've heard anything about these books, you know that there is currently a TV show adaptation that was produced by Crave, which I think is like a Canadian streaming service, but it was also available to watch on HBO Max, which is where I was able to watch it. So once I knew that it was a book adaptation, I was like, I should read the book, and my school library got it in, so I was like, let me check this out for the summer. And then The Long Game is the 2nd book. I believe season 2 will be based off of this book, and then the author is currently writing a 3rd book. But the thing about the series is that I think the series is called like the Game Changers series. And the 1st book, Game Changers, I think is about Scott and Kip, which is a different couple than these books. So like they're all in the same universe, but I don't think you necessarily have to read all of them, and you don't necessarily have to read them in order either. So I just grabbed the 2 about Shane and Ilya because that's what I was most interested in at the moment. I might read the other ones eventually, but these 2 are my priority, especially with season 2 potentially coming out in 2027, I think. So next, I wanted to read these because like I was just reminded of them after watching Heated Rivalry, and these are the Fence graphic novels. I have the first 5 of them, and the best way to describe these to me is that they're basically like think of any like sports anime. And like, you know how there's always like the rivals and stuff and like the homoerotic subtext. These are that, except it's not subtext. Like they go to an all boys fencing school, and like, I mean, it's not totally clear if all of them are gay, but a lot of them give off that vibe, and like relationships between them are like it's not a universe where homophobia is like in your face. Like it's kind of just like a fun queer story where people can be gay and it doesn't really matter, and I don't know, there's just no homophobia, and it's fun and it's enjoyable, and I really love the art style. Like I just think it's super, super cute. And I read these also probably back in 2020. I was reading a lot in 2020. Like in 2020 I think I read over 100 books, and then in 2021 I read like close to 200 because, you know, quarantine and what else was there to do. But yeah, watching Heated Rivalry made me really want to reread these. Okay, next on my list, I have The Maze Runner I only have the first 2 books, and these have been on my shelf for a while. These actually aren't mine, they're my mom's. But once again, going back to quarantine, I literally like went around my house and like just took all of the books that were around my house that I was interested in reading, and a lot of those ended up being my mom's books. So these have been on my shelf for a couple years and I just hadn't gotten around to them. They're dystopian books, and I was really into dystopian books back in like middle and high school. And then also, I've been wanting to watch the movies of these because Dylan O'Brien is in them. And since I started watching Teen Wolf, I want to see some more things that he's in, but I want to read the books first. So I have the first 2 like on hand. I'll probably try to check out the rest of them from the library once I get through these, but those are next up on my list. Next, I have Cruel Prince by Holly Black. And honestly, this is not high on my priority list at all. Like, I've seen it around and wanted to read it for a while, but it definitely has not been my top priority. The only reason this is in this box actually is because I was bringing it home from my dorm. At my school, there was like this event. They do it every year, but the library always has a table there and they give out free books, like completely free, brand new books. And they do it as like a blind date with a book, and I got this one. So I figured if I have the time to get around to it, I might read it, but it's not very high on my priority list. Next, we're going to get into some of my manga. I kind of fell off with reading manga for a while, but I have Banana Fish volumes 4 and 5. I already read the first 3, and I just hadn't had the time to get around to these. I watched the anime maybe in 2021 or 2022, and I really enjoyed it, so I've been slowly collecting the series and reading it. So this is basically just a continuation for me. And then next for manga, I have the complete collection editions of Orange, and these I have not started either. I remember I asked for the first one for Christmas one year and I got it, and then I didn't read it, but I still asked for the second one the next year and I got it. So now I have both, which honestly is nice because one of the most irritating things when you're reading is like finishing one book and not having the next one available, like whether your library doesn't have it or whether you're reading like a series as it's coming out and the like new book just hasn't come out. So having both of these, like the complete story in my hand to read, will be nice because if I read this one and I really like it, I'm going to want to start this one immediately. But yeah, and last but not least, I have Fahrenheit 451. This was another one that I took from my mom. And is it a classic? I never know like what the difference is between like a book that's just old and like well known or like what's actually considered a classic. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm sure most people have heard of Fahrenheit 451, which is a dystopian. I think it's about like book burning and just things that are important to read about and understand, especially in the current climate. I've seen this on a lot of recommendation lists of like things to read based on the political moment that we're in right now. So if I can get around to this one too, it's also pretty short, so it shouldn't take me too long to read it. I would really like to read this one as well. But yeah, so that's basically my entire delusional TBR for the summer. Like I said, if I can get through like those first 3 like books in series, I would be pretty satisfied. But I really do want to try this summer to read more because last summer I didn't read as much as I would have liked to. And honestly, I had more time last summer than I do this summer because this summer I'm going to be working. I'm trying to volunteer more. I'm taking a summer class also, which honestly, I'm not like mad about it. I think it's going to be a class that I enjoy and learn a lot from. But yeah, that's my TBR. Let me know if any of these books are on your list as well. And if you enjoyed this video and if you like my channel, please make sure that you like it and subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so that you never miss a video. And that's all.